I know the feeling. You see a sleek pair of bookshelf speakers on a product page, the photos look flawless, the description promises room-filling sound, and you start picturing yourself listening to your favorite album on a clean white setup. Then you read a few reviews that mention nice looking but fell flat, and you pause, wondering if you're about to waste money. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through the Audioengine HD5 and the matching S8 subwoofer so you can decide whether this bundle is actually worth putting on your desk, bedside table, or small living room shelf, and avoid the disappointment that so many first-time bookshelf speaker buyers feel. First off, let's talk about the category itself. Bookshelf speakers sit in a sweet spot between tiny desktop monitors and full-size floor-standing cabinets. They're meant to deliver a balanced soundstage without demanding a dedicated listening room. Because they're usually powered, you don't need an external amp, which makes them attractive for dorms, home offices, or anyone who wants plug-and-play simplicity. The trade-off, however, is that the driver size limits how deep the bass can go, especially in a room with hard floors and minimal furniture. That's where the optional subwoofer comes in. It's meant to fill the low end that the smaller woofers can't reach. The HD5 is a 5-inch two-way speaker, finished in a glossy white that matches a modern aesthetic. What you'll notice right out of the box is how straightforward the setup is. There's a single power cord, an RCA input, and a 3.5mm jack that works with laptops, phones, or the headphone out of a gaming console. No need to hunt for a separate amp or deal with matching impedance. The internal amplifiers are already matched to the drivers, so you get a clean signal from day one. In my own test, I plugged the speakers into a mid-range laptop and a Nintendo Switch dock, and the volume knob on the speaker itself gave me enough range for a quiet night in a bedroom or a louder session when friends came over for a movie marathon. Now, the S8 subwoofer is the only component that adds a dedicated low-frequency channel. It's an 8-inch powered sub with its own volume dial and a simple line-level input that you can connect directly to the HD5 sub output. The key here is that the sub doesn't require any additional crossover setup. It's designed to blend automatically with the HD5's internal low-end response. When I turned it on and set it to a modest level, the difference was noticeable. The bass in a film's explosion scene became punchier, and the kick drum in a game's soundtrack felt more defined, without muddying the mids that the HD5 handles so well. Who should consider this bundle? If you're a music lover who spends a lot of time on a laptop or a small desktop, and you want to step up from cheap computer speakers, the HD5 plus S8 combo gives you a respectable upgrade without turning your room into a studio. It also works nicely for gamers who appreciate directional cues. The mids and highs are clear enough to pinpoint footsteps, while the sub adds that satisfying thump when a car crashes in a racing game. Dorm residents and people in shared apartments will also like the compact footprint. The speakers sit comfortably on a shelf about a foot wide, and the sub is small enough to tuck under a desk. On the flip side, there are some clear cases where you might want to look elsewhere. If you have a large living room with high ceilings, the 5-inch drivers will struggle to fill the space, even with the sub. You'll find yourself turning the volume up, which can introduce a slight hiss from the built-in amps. Not a deal-breaker, but something to be aware of. Audiophiles chasing deep, tight bass without distortion will likely miss the nuance you get from a larger, dedicated subsystem that offers adjustable crossover frequencies. And if you're hoping for a black aesthetic to blend into a darker core, the white finish is a design choice that can clash. The glossy surface also shows fingerprints and dust more readily than matte finishes. In terms of everyday usability, the speakers have a handy front-facing volume knob and a mute button, which is great when you need to silence the audio quickly for a video call. The power switch is on the back, so you can keep the speakers on all day without worrying about a standby mode draining power. The S8 also has a low-profile footprint, and its cable runs are short enough to stay neat on a desk. The only minor inconvenience I ran into was that the RCA input on the HD5 is a standard size, which meant I had to use an extra adapter for the 3.5mm output from my phone. It's a tiny extra step, but worth noting if you want a completely cable-free setup. Another practical point is how the bundle handles different content types. For spoken word podcasts or audiobooks, the speakers deliver clear vocals with just enough presence to keep you engaged, and